This one comes in from Everett, EV Days. What's up, Everett? Everett asked, does Kyle Shanahan deserve our trust? Or do we trust him because not to do so is a much more gloomy prospect? Say that again. Does Kyle Shanahan deserve our trust? Or do we trust him because to not do so is a much more gloomy prospect? You all may remember EV Days for his epic art of the GIF on Twitter. That's definitely something that he's known for, as well as his role as the senior VP of 49ers Quality Control Graphic Arts Department. I love Everett. Great guy, great GIFs, great Twitter follow. Go follow him on Twitter. In answer to Everett's question here, my answer to the first part of the question here is split. Does Kyle deserve our trust? I think in some ways, yes. Kyle Shanahan does deserve our trust. Well, in what ways, Rob, does he deserve that trust? Well, let me tell you what that is. We should trust that he will continue to be able to draw up plays that will make the TV announcers gush, absolutely gush when they see them hit on the field. And yes, I'm looking at you, Mark Schlereth, aka Stink. Right? The type of play that gets Kittle or Debo the ball in space with just one or two defenders that they need to beat between them and a crazy yak touchdown. Yards after the catch, getting the ball to a premium receiver in space, open, able to make that next cut and go. That type of play design is something we can count on Kyle Shanahan to continue to do. Maybe not count on him to continue to do it in pressure situations or consistently, but certainly he will continue to come up with those types of plays. And that, to me, that type of genius passes the eye test, meaning that you can literally see with your own eyes that in action. You can see it, and it's mesmerizing at times. It's totally frustrating at others when it disappears for no reason, or it's a high pressure situation and the 49ers just cannot complete that particular play. But you can see it when it works. The question is, can he execute in those critical situations? And the answer so far to that is no. So the answer in other ways, other than play design for me, is either incomplete or leaning heavily towards no as far as whether we can or should trust Kyle Shanahan going forward. Situational football is a circumstance that I don't think we can actually trust Kyle at this point in time. I don't know if it's a confidence issue. I don't know if it's an execution issue, but there is something amiss, something that perhaps years from now we'll get a tell-all book about inside the 49ers locker room, and it will illuminate for us where these issues are stemming from. But you can look at strange decisions around fourth down, around time management, around the 2-minute drills, right? On both sides of the ball. These things are concerning, that situational football awareness. Holding on to a lead. Can we trust Kyle when it comes to holding on to a lead? I don't even want to bring up the most glaring instances where this has happened because it's personally too painful for me. And I know it's too painful for all of you watching this as well. Motivating players doesn't seem to be a strength of Kyle's. It doesn't seem to be something that we can trust him to do continually going forward. Developing players. We have one key rookie, along with a few others that haven't seen the field yet, that need development, where you could argue that the future of the 49ers franchise and their success is reliant upon the development of these players. And I would argue that the evidence suggests to this point that that's not a strong suit for Kyle Shanahan. That's an area he has struggled to this point. Question remains, will he be able to address that issue going forward and develop players like Trey Lance? Taking responsibility. Another area that I don't trust Kyle Shanahan. I'm a big believer in the motto, the buck stops here. And I want leaders, I want people in charge of organizations that I respect, that I'm a part of. I want those leaders to take that responsibility. When things go badly, I want you to take the hit. If things don't go as planned, whose fault was it? Well, first and foremost, your fault. That's what I believe in as a leadership model. That's what I see as the best model for those leaders I've had the fortune to work for. And that's what I respect in key leaders of key organizations that you see around the league that have long, sustained success. Someone like Mike Tomlin comes to mind. Someone who stands in front of the microphone, takes the heat, and deflects it from his players. Conversely, with Kyle Shanahan, I have seen instances where it seemed possible to not throw a player under the bus, to deflect from that player, to make it easier on that player, to deflect the question entirely, or to take some personal responsibility. And instead, his choice has been historically to say, yeah, that player needs to step it up. Praise in public, criticize in private. I am a big believer in that saying. And to this point, that hasn't been Kyle's motto. And then lastly, it's the gloom aspect, the second half of this question. So do we trust him? Because to not do so is a much more gloomy aspect. Yes, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Everett. I believe that as 49ers fans, myself included, I do not trust Jed York to go out there and find the next head coach or the next GM. I do not have a high level of faith in his ability to execute on those decisions. It sure seems as if the times he has hit home runs, it was obvious who the choice was. It was really no decision at all. That it would have been a colossal blunder not to choose Kyle Shanahan or Jim Harbaugh. And that it wasn't necessarily Jed York doing any one thing in particular or making some type of move as an owner that deserved credit at that time. I also have to ask the question, is there a serious and obvious upgrade out there? There's potential. There are coaches out there that may be the next great thing. But can we honestly say that if Kyle can adjust a few of these flaws within his own character, that he couldn't be that next great quarterback, that he couldn't evolve into a complete head coach? I believe that he can. And I believe it would be foolish to pull the trigger on it now when you aren't sure about the outcome and you aren't sure about the other options that are out there. And you aren't even sure if there are other positive options out there that the guy in charge is going to be able to select which of those options is the best one and put them in charge of the franchise moving forward. I don't have a lot of faith there. Therefore, I think that yes, EV, to your question, we trust in him because of the doom and gloom that we would have if we let him go.